Alright then, let's do this thing. I said I was gonna come back and do this. Yeah, it's another video, but I'm gonna do an audio this time. Why? Because I want to. And I said I was gonna make this a separate video anyways, and I'm here to discuss it. It won't be too long, but I might as well take the time and, talk about it since it's been going on since Friday and whatnot. I actually thought it would have been a little bit few more of these things coming out, but yeah, man, more WWE releases. I want to call this one another NXT slash 205 live edition, and I think they let go about what 14 people or 12 people, I think. And hold on, was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, yeah, 14, including a writer. Okay, so yeah, it's kind of like the NXT 205, you know, edition and whatnot. But so some of these guys were on the main roster. Some were just sent back to NXT, but still, this is kind of that edition. And the first one I actually want to talk about, before I actually get into the actual regular names, though, is the WWE writer that was fired. Now, the story that was going around is that she knew nothing of wrestling. She was just I believe, I don't know if she's a comedy writer or anything, but she knew nothing of wrestling, okay? She knew nothing about it. And it kind of sits there and wonder, why was this person hired? And she did not know who Bobby Lashley was, okay? Because I think she called him Bobby Ashley, I believe it was. Yeah, Bobby Ashley and whatnot. And she never heard of wrestling, knew nothing of wrestling, just nothing. And even when she was hired, like, she was required not to know anything about it. So, and, I heard about this person because she was hired not that long ago. Okay, Kenise Mobley, that's her name, and yeah, she was hired not that long ago, and she just knew nothing about WWE. She knew nothing about wrestling. Yeah, she worked at a lot of other places and whatnot, but she knew nothing wrestling. And people have always said this: why does WWE hire people? It's gone on for years now. Like, they hire people that don't know shit about wrestling, probably never seen wrestling, don't know anything about it. And I know this whole story about apparently WWE is trying to hire more comedy writers. Like, why do we need more comedy writers? And yet, listen, I know the final say is through Vince. Okay, at the end of this day, everything is the final say through Vince McMahon and whatnot. But you gotta put some blame on Stephanie McMahon too, because a lot of people say she has a big influence on hiring these people. Some would say it's a lot of the what was it? I hear this a lot. Some of her, pro feminist bullshit she tries to spew a lot, or just try to, I know, just try to make things equal and whatnot. But a lot of the blame can go on Stephanie for hiring these people, because they know nothing. All right, they know nothing. I just gotta sit there like, this woman did not even know who the champion was, didn't even know his name, and I'm just kind of sitting there like, this man's the fucking champion, and you don't know who he is. And once again, people can sit there and says, why were you hired? Why? Because I'm sure there's no reason why. Like I said, they just hire writers because they're Hollywood writers and they don't know shit about wrestling. It makes no sense. Okay, it makes zero sense. I'm not surprised, but like, as soon as she admitted she didn't know nothing, she was gone. She was gone. Some say this is I've heard this before. This is what happens when keeping it woke goes wrong, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I've been hearing that online on the internet lately, so this is probably the case. Probably is. I'm not really sure, but you just sit there and wonder, like, we hired someone that did not know anything and didn't even know the champion and got his name wrong. And it's really disrespectful, when you look at it. It really is. It's like, by God, you don't even know my name and I'm the top guy on the show. She just thought I was just some big dude and whatnot in this group called Hurt Business. But, that's on WWE for hiring this person to begin with. But then it's what a lot of the writers on there. They've hired Hollywood writers for years, okay? And this is just now is biting them back in the ass because they don't know nothing about wrestling. Because, like I said, I've heard about this person maybe like 2, 3 weeks ago. It was her and some other girl that was hired and whatnot. But this was just dumb. It's really, really dumb. So, it's no really sympathy that much on. I'm sure she'll find another job and whatnot in writing or for whatever company. But come on now, it's like it goes both blame on both sides. One, you didn't know in wrestling, but then that's on the company, that's on WWE themselves for hiring somebody that didn't know anything about wrestling. So there you go. But then again, WWE tries to say they're not wrestling anyways nowadays. So yeah. But next though, let's talk about the actual releases. And it's gonna be some of these are teams. Well, number one, Fandango, and we can add his partner to Brazango, Tyler Breeze. Now, they were just on NXT like what, a week or two ago in a match against Imperium, and now all of a sudden they're released. Because I swear these guys were on TV a few weeks ago. And Brazango's been kind of up and down on NXT as it is, anyways. Fandango, I didn't know he'd been in the company for over 14 years, apparently. I knew who he was when he was Johnny Curtis, and that's when NXT was still doing that game show thing. And it had to be around 2011 or 10, I think I started hearing about him because he did win the NXT game show thing. I didn't watch it, but I remember him cutting promos on SmackDown, and we were just waiting for his debut. Like, okay, what's this guy gonna do? This Johnny Curtis guy, until they finally made it Fandango, and we all know how his gimmick went, the dancing, and with Chris Jericho, the match at WrestleMania 29, and I know Jericho has talked about this before. Like, they eventually wanted to put this guy over, and he was over at one point. He was really over. Fandango, when it was 2013, the dude was over as fuck. And they gave him, come on, he got a win over Chris Jericho in his debut match at WrestleMania. Okay, at WrestleMania. And he was over. He really was over. Like, the fans were singing, they were dancing along to his theme almost every week. I remember that night after WrestleMania 29, like, throughout half the night, people was just dancing and singing along to the theme song. Where it went wrong was when WWE started shoving it down everybody's throats. It's like you didn't just let it just play out organically and not really talk about it. It's like they talked about it so much and promoted it so much. After that, they just burnt it out, and then Fandango just kind of started to disappear after a while. And, Fandango was just kind of there to be there until they had him with Tyler Breeze then. Tyler Breeze, who's been in NXT, which he was, and I'm going to get to him also. Tyler Breeze been in NXT since about 2015, 14. I don't know how long Tyler Breeze been in the company. Apparently he's been there since 2010, but Tyler Breeze was really was at a really good spot when he was in NXT at first, almost in that main event status, because he didn't get the NXT title, but he was up there in the programs, though. He was up there with guys like Balor, and who else was there? I know it was a Dale Tommy, Kenta at the time, and it was a Dale Tommy at the time, but Kenta, and he was at a pretty good spot. They had a match against Apollo Crews. He was going for the NXT title, the whole Prince Pretty thing, a lot. Come on, they had this guy going against Jushin Thunder Liger at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 1 in 2015, okay? I remember he came out with this whole fashion week thing for New York City and whatnot, and his entrance, and he had the selfie stick with the camera and his face is on the screen and everything. So Tyler Breeze was really over until they got him to the main roster. I thought the guy looked like Dolph Ziggler's little brother out there. They put him with Summer Rae in. And then it just kind of broke up, and Tyler Breeze just kind of was just drifting along at that point until they put him and Fandango together as a group. Then they became the Fashion Police. Then they did a lot of the funny segments on SmackDown, which I enjoyed. They were pretty funny, and with the Ascension. And we got 2 tickets to paradise, if everybody remembers that segment. Them giving out the Yeti money tickets. And I remember I saw these guys live at Payback 2016 or 17. And they went against the Usos. I think the Usos were the tag team champions at the time. But Brazongo was pretty over when they came out as the Fashion Police. And it was working. And I don't know if they did too many segments on SmackDown. But, then they kind of moved it off the YouTube then. And then they just kind of disappeared after a while. Until they came back to NXT probably about over a year ago. I want to say they came back to NXT. And, they became Brazongo. And they were in a good spot. Yeah, they came out as male strippers almost every week because the Fashion Police thing they could have kept. But when you go from Fashion Police to astronauts to cavemen to firefighters, it's like, okay, what stripper of the week thing y'all doing this week? And I just felt like, yes, they were the tag team champions on NXT, but it felt like they were transitional champions at the same time. It's like they're there, but then it's almost like welcome back Brazongo. It's like they're there 1 minute, they're gone. They're there 1 minute, they're gone. And then Fandango got hurt a few times, then Tyler Breeze was on his own. But it's almost like, welcome back. I'm like, were they really gone that long? They've only been gone for like, what, a month, maybe 3 weeks. And like I said, just a couple weeks ago, they just came back. And they won that match against Imperium, and Imperium beat them up. And now this week, I'm finding out they were gone. So that's very surprising in a way to see Brazongo gone. Arya Davari, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know he was still in the company. I don't watch 205 Live, so I can't really comment on that. So, yeah, like I said, it still sucks. Anybody lose their job, but like I said, I don't really know. I didn't know he was still here. I just knew he was on 205 Live. Anthony Nese, Tony Nese, see him here and there. His entrance with the abs thing, talking, I actually thought that was pretty good. And I remember that match he had at WrestleMania 35 against Murphy, which was really good, and I believe he won. I think he was from the New York area, so he didn't win at WrestleMania 35 and whatnot. But like I said, I don't watch him much on 205, and he would just pop up here and there on NXT nowadays. So it's almost like he was there, but he wasn't there at the same time. But Tony Nese, I don't watch 205 Live. Chase Parker and Matt Martell, Ever Rise. These niggas was just on TV the other night, okay, against Hit Row. Let me say this about Ever Rise. Do they rule? No. I called them Discount Young Bucks. But it looks like they were actually giving these guys some time doing their little segments on NXT almost every about a week. At first, I thought they were like channel changing heat. Until they started to convince me they were kind of funny in some ways. Because before it was like, okay, it's Ever Rise. They ruled. But they felt like I wanted to change the channel every time they came on. But it looked like as soon as they were starting to do something, they got released. We released a lot of these guys when they're under a storyline or in some type of angle for some reason or have something going on. But yeah, Ever Rise, man, they were on TV the other night. Now they're gone. August Gray, I don't know much about him. I think he was in those Thatcher school segments, but that's all I really know. Singh brothers, Sunil and Samir Singh. Haven't seen them in a while. Mostly they were the Bollywood boys. I think they are 205 Live during that point. But all I really know them as was Jinder Mahal's, henchmen and whatnot. I will say Randy Orton damn near killed these guys in that whole feud. I'll say there's some bumping machines. I'll give them that. But I only remember them being just Jinder's, excuse me. I know Jinder's got some new henchmen nowadays. I don't really know who those guys are anyways, but the Singh brothers, I just knew they were his henchmen at the time when he was the WWE champion. So I have no idea what they were doing on 205. That's all I can really say. But that's all I remember was, when they were with Jinder Mahal. Marina Shafir, I don't know. Is there like half the 4 horsewomen gone? Okay, they got rid of Jessamine Duke. Now they got rid of Shafir. I know they ran with, mostly Rousey, but then they were with Baszler's crew. But now they released both of Baszler's crew. I think the last time she was on TV was when Roderick Strong saying, I'm done with NXT. That's the last time I remember. And I think she was on Raw Underground one time. But most thing of Marina Shafir I can remember was with, she was with Baszler's crew. Some people say this is now a missed opportunity. They could have done the 4 horsewomen versus the 4 horsewomen. Yes, they could have done that, but both Shafir and Duke weren't really that good in the ring. Especially Duke. That was really bad with them. So they were just mostly henchmen for Baszler. So I'm not really surprised. Kurt Stallion, I don't really know. I think he was on NXT one time. I think I said that he was the guy from Texas. That he looked like one of the Von Erichs, and they were trying to build him towards against what's his name, Escobar out there for the Cruiserweight title. Because I'm like, who is this guy again? He's from 205 Live. And they tried to give him something. He had an okay match out there, but that's all I really remember him for. Marco Ruas, I think he was some MMA dude they were trying to push, but they never really pushed him. And they had promo videos for him, too. I do remember that. He had promo videos. And they were trying to make him like this MMA, somewhat street fighter, and then he just took L's, and nothing really happened after that. Killian Dane, I'm a little bit surprised, given that he was with Rockstar Spud out there. Hey, listen, you've seen me shit on Killian Dane before. He's been around, I know he's Big Damo before, but he's been around since, 2014, 15. He was with Sanity, with Eric Young at the time. And, the group was going well for him, but then I remember this shit on him a lot when he was on TV, because, It's Killian Dane. I don't really care. It's Killian Dane. It's like he just happened to be on TV half the time. It's like, oh, Killian Dane. Okay. It didn't look like this thing with Spud and him was working. And once again, weren't these guys going against Hit Row trying to build into something? And it looked like they were trying to get him to enjoy the Imperium, I thought. And now that's gone. So I know he's back to being Big Damo. Now, I think he'll be alright, though. I think he'll end up somewhere else. Tino Sabatelli. I think he was fired last year when everybody else was getting fired. Then they hired him back, and then they fired. I don't know anything about. I think he was in a tag team with that Riddick Moss dude, and that was it. And I think he's with Mandy Rose for real, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know much about him. I don't I don't know anything really. So I'm just taking a couple minutes just to look at some of these guys. Do I think half these guys will end up in different companies? Most likely. I could see Brazongo. They'll end up somewhere. Maybe Everrise. Um, Damo will be okay. Big Damo, I think he'll be alright. The same brothers, we'll see. Um, Shafir, I don't know. I don't know what to say about half. Like I said, half these guys, I didn't even know they were still on the roster, okay? And I'm sure it's a budget thing when it comes to WWE. Like I said before, ever since they hired that Nick Khan dude, they've made a lot of changes lately. So they must be trying to clear the budget, and I guess they just don't see much in these guys, though. But I just think it's crazy that some of these guys were just on TV not that long ago, or even just under a week ago, and then they got released. So that's why I said it's like I said, it's the NXT 205 edition, but I don't know who some of these guys even were. And that's for the writer though. Come on, like she didn't know shit about wrestling. It's like why were you here to begin with at the same time? So boom, there you go. But yeah, I just want to take a few minutes to talk about all these releases in WWE since we got another wave of them and whatnot. So yeah, the somewhat NXT 205 edition, folks, and a writer. So yeah, I'm out of here. See you guys later. Peace out. Tell me what do you think about the releases, and do you have anything to put in or say about all this? All right. So I'm out. See you guys later. Peace.